This is the Hartford Online Radio Network. 21st Century Audio. Delivered. On thehorn.com.
Good evening, folks. It's Tuesday. It's the Hartford Online Radio Network on thehorn.com, and this is Open for Business, the show that features hands-on business owners discussing everything and anything that has to do with running a business in the 21st century, and obviously most especially here in 2012. Our sponsors are Gateway Financial Group, the accounting firm of Budwitz and Meyerjack, Sherpa Technologies, and CentralCTDental.com. It's the home of Doctors Camp, Zambor, and Lupini. I'm Tommy Russo. This is Ken Cook.
Howdy.
And our guest this evening is Mr. Abbas Mohammadi, the owner, founder of Columbia Dental. Welcome, Abbas.
Thank you.
Nice to have you with us. Now, before we get to you officially, as most of our listeners know, we always like to start the show off with a couple quotes. And Ken, I've got two fun people this week: Sir Richard Branson.
Oh, I like him.
And Henry Ford.
Okay, I didn't know much about Henry Ford, but Branson I like.
Okay, so here we go. Here's one. You can't build a reputation on what you're going to do.
Okay.
And then the other one is, I don't think of work as work and play as play. It's all a living. So who's who?
Wow. I'm going to flip a coin and go Branson 1, Ford 2.
Wrong again, Maestro.
Always. Always.
No, it's Henry Ford that says you can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. And I think in some ways we'll use that as a segue to move over to Abbas here. Your reputation continues to grow, and certainly all throughout Connecticut, and most especially in the dental community. And, we'd like you to share a little bit about how you got started, Abbas, at Columbia Dental.
Well, we started back in year 2000. I started from a very small place. Probably you have seen it. Is our accounting office.
I did see it.
Yeah, 750 square feet office that I started. So the way I did it, I was working. Obviously, you don't have any patient basis to start. So I was working in another dental office, and I seen patients on a regular schedule from, let's say, 9 to 5. I went to the office at 6 o'clock p.m. every day at 6 o'clock and see patients from 6 to 9 p.m.
Wow.
So I was the only basically dental office in Manchester at that time that was open at that late. So obviously people, they like it. So patients started to come. So then I had to quit the other job, obviously, and I dedicate all my time to build up my own practice, which obviously didn't take that long because I offer also weekend hours. So that was another thing that it made the progress even in more accelerated way.
So I have two questions for you. When you first started, did the dentist office that you were working for, were they cognizant that you had opened your own practice?
Well, that was kind of far away, so I didn't think that was any conflict or interest with them. But obviously, I didn't share any, information with them. But I didn't think that was any conflict with their interest.
Got it. And then the second question is, you opened up from 6 to 9. Clearly, a huge paradigm shift for your industry. Was that out of necessity, or was that out of design on your part?
That was out of design, actually, because when I landed to this country back in 1990, I landed in New York City. So one day, my friend was taking me to New Jersey. And always, still in New York City, still there are not very big, there are a lot of Papa and Mama John's stores in New York City. So it took me to Home Depot in New Jersey. And I was so impressed because was weekend, they were open, and I went inside. We went obviously to buy some miscellaneous items like a screw or whatever, you have to buy from a hardware store.
New microphones, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. But I find then they selling refrigerator, they selling dryer, washing machine. So I was so impressed with that uh, type of hardware store that can sell you a refrigerator, dryer, and they open all the time. So I had always, as a student, I had that in back of my mind to be able to implement the same thing that Home Depot did in their business to dentistry, because I found that reaching to the dentist many times is very inconvenient, like is reaching to the hardware store because they close at 5 o'clock. And even you go to the hardware stores, they're not providing all the items that you're looking. Versus you go to Home Depot, you find whatever you need. So
What a great time. You got a question?
A couple of quick observations. One, I love the fact that you were able to draw from a big box store like Home Depot the things that would differentiate a small dental practice in Manchester, Connecticut. I just think that is absolutely awesome. And you tuned in not on things from your perspective, but things from the customer's perspective. Hours of service, variety of offerings. And you were able to sit there and, I mean, companies differentiate on quality, service, price. And what you've done is you've looked at the service aspect of it and said convenience, one-stop shop, everything that they need under one roof as far as dental services are concerned. I think that is, it should be a quiz in an MBA program. What is the common theme running between Home Depot and Columbia Dental? Why not?
Yeah, I mean, there you
We'll
go.
put it in an MBA program somewhere. UConn will pick it up.
So another ongoing series of questions all kind of tied into what we've been talking about. You have this different business model. Clearly it's been successful. Other than word of mouth, how did you begin to get the word out that, one, the practice was open, and two, you were, as Ken just alluded to, as customer friendly and lifestyle convenient as you clearly made the decision to be?
well, obviously we're using some active advertisement to get patients, but what I find that it really helped me through years to get the patients is a statement that I read from Michelangelo, that it says that the ultimate of complexity is simple, is simplicity. So I always try
that.
to keep it simple, the business. Make it simple for patients. And if you make it simple for them, then they come back and in a simple way, they explain to their family, to their parents, to their mothers, to their sisters and brother, what is a Columbia Dental is. I had a conversation with Ken before you arrive, and what we were talking about why we have different specialties. And the answer is because I wanted to keep it simple. I wanted to have every specialties within one roof. And that's in great deal it helped the business to grow. This is something that basically I learned from Steve Jobs. What basically he did, he took a cell phone, he took the calculator, he took the computer, he took the light, everything, it merged it in one device. It called it a smartphone. We can't live without it right now. Basically, he didn't invent anything new. He just took many components and it put it together, and it make it very easy, friendly, and simple for the people to use it. And I try to use his model again also in my business. In a routine dental office, The patient comes, they referring him out to another doctor. The other doctor send it to another doctor. So the communication, it get lost. Versus here, we kept everybody, every, every different aspect of specialties within one roof. We have our own laboratory. So that's also allow a better communication and allow a simpler way to deliver a product versus you take an impression, you send it out, you're waiting, or you're relying on a third-party company to give you a product that your patient desire. Versus here, when our patients come get their products, we call our lab technicians. So they talk directly to the lab technicians about their need and their desire. So things are very simple versus to be in a very complex way to write the prescription, send it out, wait for the guy to answer you. So we try to get to the point in a very easy and simple way.
Well, you know what strikes me on this, and Ken, I'm going to run with this, and then we'll bounce over to you. And I'd love your feedback on this. It certainly sounds simple for the consumer. For me as a patient to come in and have everything on, and I can speak firsthand, by the way, folks, because I am a patient of Columbia Dental and have been for a number of years. So indeed, everything that Dr. Abbas has just been kind enough to share with us is really the truth. But it also sounds like on the management, running, controlling, paying the bills, to me, it sounds from the outside looking in a tad complex. So is there that simple twist of fate on your part that, yes, indeed, you're making it simple for us, the consumers, but at the same time have added a level of complexity for you, the owner, and those that are helping you to manage?
Listen, Tom, the last, I'm working 7 days a week. And the last time I took off probably was 12 years ago before I opened Columbia Dental. I hope that would answer
You just answered a big resounding yes.
Answer your question. Yes, we try to keep it simple, but from our end, obviously, is very complex.
Now, the simplicity, what are the tangible benefits of that as far as your business is concerned? Do you find that patients refer patients because of that aspect?
Absolutely, because we make it so easy for them.
Okay.
They need to have a clinic. We don't put them to wait too long. We don't ask them to come on awkward hours. They don't need to take off from the work or anything like that. We even they walk in, we accommodate them. We have enough staff to accommodate them. So whenever they desire, we try to accommodate them. If they have an emergency, we try to accommodate them. We don't let them to wait for pain. So of course this is all simple for the patient, but as Tom it says, it takes a lot of effort from our part.
Imagine that, Steve Jobs and Michelangelo.
Well, I was just going to say, so how long have you been a student?
And Home Depot.
And Home Depot,
right.
Yes,
well, yeah, exactly. How long have you been a student of, say, Steve Jobs? I mean, you clearly have done some homework on his business style, management style, and for that matter, in some ways, manufacturing. You're not actually manufacturing a product, i.e., an iPhone here, but manufacturing a concept that works well for the customer. Who else besides Steve Jobs have you been, a student of? I guess I'd ask that question.
I am a good observer, and that's what I found because going to I've spent some time at Columbia University, maybe 3-4 years actually after my graduation, to doing research. So always I found even the biggest researchers in that they invent things not basically by design. They invented by taking different components from other people and they mix it together and they made a product. So I knew that from my own research and experience of the research that people with the big names, they are not really people that they invented things. They are people that they implement the invention of the other people. So there are a lot of inventions going on, both in science and both in our society, or in aspect of not only science, but but the thing is, iconoclast, is somebody that can implement those hypothetical invention to the practical life.
Mm.
That's a great way of articulating it.
I want to go to the personal side of being an entrepreneur for a moment, if you don't mind. I'd love to know, most entrepreneurs that I have ever met have, at minimum, a strong ego, and in many cases, a very big ego, or else they wouldn't have the confidence to start up a business. My sense of how you've structured and built Columbia Dental is that you've suppressed Abbas's ego for the sake of making the business better in as many ways as you possibly can. It's not about you. Am I reading this right? And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I'm not a fan of ego, so if that's your
Cool.
point, you got it that right. Yeah,
Good.
because I think ego is something that is suppress even your progress.
Mm-hmm.
So I think actually all our problems start with ego. If you put ego away, people, they can live in peace.
Well, as a strong leader, what do you think are the characteristics that excellent leaders bring to building a business?
What are the characteristics that the excellent leader bring into the business? Again, is to be actually, I would say, the excellent leader are the leaders that they are down to earth. They
Mhm.
are leaders that their own employee, they feel they are equal to that person.
Wow.
So I think that's the ultimate uh, way for a strong leader is.
I want to remind you folks that you're tuning into Open for Business. Our guest this evening is Dr. Abbas Mohammadi, and founder of Columbia Dental. And if you're not following us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, then we'd like you to start right now. Now, here's a question for Brian and Ken. What's the book consistently that gets mentioned here at Open for Business?
E-Myth.
E-Myth.
Gerber.
Gerber. Have you read the book E-Myth?
No.
Oh, it's a good book. But the reason I'm asking is, what strikes me is that you didn't like it that much?
Not that.
Okay.
Come on.
Well, we've mentioned it plenty of times, that's for sure.
It's a good book.
Part of what it talks about is that the entrepreneur starts with a passion, a singular passion, and that grows into a business. So tell us a little bit about was your initial passion dentistry and medicine? Was that the essence of it that got you motivated?
Well, the passion always starts from your childhood. I was 9 years old when my mother was looking on weekend for a dentist in my hometown country, and she was unable to find a dentist because I was on such a agony and pain. So always in my mind, I had that in my mind, that toothache, it can be so horrible.
It can.
I was very attached to my mother. So when I came to, for education to this country, always I wanted to please her. Always I want to take steps, not only, I of course, I love dentistry. I wanted to be dentist. But on the other hand, always I wanted to please her as well. I wanted to be going for education. So because she always wanted me to be an educated man. She always wanted me to go to the best school and have a best education. So that was my passion. So I wanted to become dentist because always I had that in my mind that the toothache can be very bad and painful, and looking for a dentist on a weekend, it can be challenging because my mother went through that challenge.
Keep
And
it simple.
yeah, and I wanted to always to please her. So that made me to become dentist, and that following up subsequently of that, it made me to have Columbia Dental, to establish Columbia Dental and open 7 days a week. So not seeing a mother looking for dentists door to door.
What a great inspiration.
Yeah.
Is your mother still with us?
No.
How long ago did she pass?
Like 4 years ago, 3 years ago.
So she was able to see the level
That's
of
right.
success.
Yes,
That's good
that's
news.
right. Yeah.
So here's part of the reason why I asked you that question. Here you are now, all these years later, and you've got locations in Manchester, a couple locations in Manchester, 3 if I'm not mistaken, Rocky Hill, Hartford, and the newest location in New Haven, and you're talking about an eventual location in New London, and you're doing this, and you haven't had a vacation in 12 years. How much time do you get personally to stay connected to your passion as opposed to you being the founder and the person that's running this ever-growing business?
Well, time has more quantity than quality. As in regard of my passion, so my work and my job is my passion. So the more I spend time with my work is you cannot separate the work and passion. If you separate it, then that's the mistake. You never can be successful in your work. But if you merge and you make your work and passion the same, so then the more you work, basically, you're more passionate you are. In terms of my family, I have a little bit time to spend with my wife and my 5-year-old son, but because I'm so passionate about my work, they even appreciate that, and even little bit time that we spend with them is so precious. So precious, it doesn't come again with the quantity. I think it comes with the quality.
That's a great response.
Wow.
So again, folks, we are tuning in to Open for Business. We are going to take a short break here. But before we cut to break, I want to read a commercial from one of our sponsors. Sorry, Abbas here, but this sponsor is centralctdental.com. It's the home of Doctors Camp, Sambor, and Lupini. If there's a serious issue or just simply a routine checkup, there is nowhere else to go other than, no, I'll be quiet. They're easy to get to on the Plainville-Farmington line. Call 860-747-5761, or you can make an appointment online at centralctdental.com. We'll be back in a couple minutes. We'll see you soon.
Budwitz & Meyerjack PC is a large Connecticut-based CPA firm with offices in Cheshire and Farmington, Connecticut. Large enough to handle engagements of enterprises with annual revenues in excess of $100 million, yet small enough to cater to smaller businesses and individual clients who expect personalized attention from partners and staff. Client service is the cornerstone of our practice. Our clients have a fixed fee for their audit and tax work. What this means to the client is we're approachable. Personal communication and client services make for strong relationships. Budwitz & Meyerjack, certified public accountants.
Sandits Travel for business and leisure. We'll take you there. Sandits Travel has been proudly serving Connecticut since 1960. That's over 50 years. And we're ready for another 50 years of superior service. Whether you prefer to come in, call in, or log on, we invite you to explore how efficient, diverse, and fun it is to book through Sandits Travel. Save your money and your time with us. Sandits Travel. We'll take you there.
At home, work, or your favorite coffee shop, if there's a Wi-Fi connection, get on the horn. Hartford's heart and soul. On thehorn.com.
Welcome back, folks. Another edition of Open for Business. Our guest this evening is Dr. Abbas Mohammadi, founder of Columbia Dental, with locations in Manchester, Rocky Hill, Hartford, and New Haven, and we believe sometime soon coming to New London. Before we get back to Abbas, though, there's one more commercial that we're going to read, and this is Brian's and my favorite. I think becoming Ken's, too.
No.
It's Deepwater Seafood.
Deepwater.
Of Avon, and it's just for the halibut. Deepwater has Farmington Valley's freshest seafood. They will work with you and your schedule. Call ahead at 860-676-9657 or fax them at 860-677-2281.
Maybe we can get them an email address.
Wow, that'd be a good idea,
We
Brian.
really ought to get them to do that. I mean, seriously. I mean, they're doing faxes. They're sponsoring an internet radio show, and they want our listeners to fax it in order. Our listeners probably don't even know what a fax is. Like, come on.
It's a really good
That's
point.
Dave's client. He's got to talk to them.
David, bring them in. Anyway, Deepwater will set aside your order for pickup. All you have to do is send it to them via email or that old clunky thing called a fax machine.
What's a fax?
Their hours are Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., and then Saturdays even at 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. But, based on our guest this evening, they should be open on Sundays and late into the evening, don't you think, folks at Deepwater? If you're wondering what's on their menu, it's sea scallops, it's fresh oysters, it's fish and chips, it's soup, it's biscuits, chowders. And as Dave knows, if you're having a party, it's paella for 12 and a salad. That's all you need. It's made with spicy chicken and sausage, scallops, shrimps, and just for the halibut. One more time, Deepwater Seafood.
Deepwater.
Of Avon, just for the halibut.
It's interesting.
Sorry to put you through that.
I wonder
Abbas.
it was the new Sunday liquor sales, just opened this past weekend, and Deepwater literally is right next to this other place called M&R Liquors, and I wonder if they got a bump in sales because M&R is now available to sell liquor on Sunday.
That would make sense.
Folks go over there and maybe get like a little wine and say, what, let's go get some nice...
Bucket of clams and a six-pack.
Yeah, that would be an interesting idea.
Would be a great guest is to get the owner of M&R or somebody like him in for one of our shows to discuss.
You know what that would be? I mean, we've actually done a lot of that with the Sunday liquor sales, but Chris Didden from Two Fly Wines, who does the WTNF show here in a few hours, I don't even know what time it starts, but he might be a guy to do that.
That's a good idea.
Perfect guy.
Love to explore that because
That would be.
you've heard the back and forth. I mean, there's some proponents of it, and obviously a whole other slew of people that aren't too pleased about it. But
and if you're doing like the Irish Bailey's cream there, whatever that's called, or the amaretto, a lot of the sweet liquors, what happens is your teeth start to rot.
There you are.
So your teeth start to rot. And where are you going to go if, say, you're in Manchester, you can't make it to Central City Dental, you can go over to Columbia Dental, right?
That's right.
That was the worst transition.
Oh, no, I've done much
He's,
worse.
he's,
You
he's
have
the
no idea.
king
I've
of
done-
segues.
Come on.
Literally the king of segues.
I didn't see you jumping up to get us back on track right there, Mr. Kettle.
That's right. Thank you. So, Abbas, here's a question for you. Talking about the future and things that are changing, what do you see as, you shared with us that there's a new location in your future, but what are the challenges facing Columbia Dental, certainly for the remainder of the year and spreading out even well beyond that, the remainder of the decade?
Well, on every day there are some challenging is from early in the morning that they call my cell phone and somebody is sick, somebody is not coming, there is something breaking. So challenging is every day. So what I do, and also a lot of people, they asking me how you do that, is just, I know probably this is against what they usually they teach even in MBA program, is that I don't look at things in a very long term. I just take every day by, and try to make the best out of a day. Because if you have so much long-term goal, in a midst there are so many other things that can happen that you cannot predict it. There are so many variables, and if you think too much about it, you never do something. Sometimes you have to do things intuitively without even, I'm not saying it's not good to not planning or not thinking, but you have to keep balance. Don't think too much. And because thinking too much means to hesitate too much too. So, and don't plan too much. Have some plan, but you cannot plan too much.
How far out do you plan?
How far I plan? Well, depend on the type of project, like, when you want to open a new office, obviously you cannot plan it in the same day.
Come on, where's the risk? Come on.
Take your marketing program. How far out do you plan that?
Probably on a, monthly basis. I
30
do
days.
that. Yeah, monthly basis. But I don't like to get to long-term contracts, or because so many other things, so many other opportunities can happen that you cannot even predict those things. So that's and I think this is the beauty of life, because it's so uncertain. So living is like an art. If we want to try to make living like a science, would be mistakes.
How do your bankers handle 30-day planning? Are they comfortable with it?
Yeah, why not? I'm the one that
I've never met a banker that's comfortable with 30-day planning.
You mean like to get a loan
Well,
or something?
one thing, let me
To think
tell
about
you.
it,
No,
yeah.
but let me tell you, okay? At Columbia Dental, we don't use too much financial companies. Yes.
Even opening
Open a
brick-and-mortar
new
location.
office. Yeah, open a new office. This
Wow.
is a cash-based business. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. The way the business grow, I build one practice, and the money of that practice pay the second practice to be open, and the second one pay the money for the third one to be paid. Columbia Dental does not own any money to the bank. So
Wow.
yeah.
Good for you. That's
Wow.
unique. And boys and girls that are tuning in this evening, if you can make that happen, which is unusual, then that's exactly the way to go. I mean, I think it's important to have a banking relationship or a relationship with some type of financial institution. But the fact that you can do this out of cash flow, if we're understanding you correctly, is pretty significant.
Okay, so we've clarity, simplicity, cash flow managed business, customer focused 100% of the time. I mean, if listeners want some cornerstones on how to build a successful company, Abbas, I think you're hitting the nail right on the head. These are really good things.
And I believe a lot of big companies, even in this country, like they collapsing. You thinking they too big to be failed, but every day we're reading on newspaper or radio, we are listening that they are collapsing, is because they don't have a strong financial foundation.
Yeah.
They have so much money and debt to pay.
Yeah.
So basically, a lot of those companies, they are making money out of them, other people's money. But to make a legitimate business, I do believe that you don't need to involve too much bank.
Wow.
So I think I've shared in the past that one of the best pieces of advice that I ever received as a business owner was to always keep my eyes on the money, where it was coming, where it was going. How about for you? I mean, is that one of the reasons why you haven't had a vacation in 12 years? Is that
Sure. You have to keep eye on your money. And a lot of things that is people, they get lazy is just because it's not their money, it's the bank's money, and they think it's their bank money, and they're not careful with it because it's the bank money, and then they have to be filing bankrupt.
Well, I can use an example from my own experience. We had an office manager, and at this particular time, I didn't scrutinize her purchasing decisions as well as I should have. Big mistake. when she was no longer with the organization, without getting into great detail, we had more paper clips and notepads and ancillary stuff that that would last. It's still lasting us, and she's been gone for 10 plus years. I'm not making this up. I mean, she bought like a drunken sailor. I share that because I want to support what you've just said, is that nobody's going to look at those dollars, and in this case the Columbia Dental dollars, with the same eye of scrutiny and concern and value as you, the owner.
Who actually owns this stuff. I think that's one of the great things that's happened since 2008, and this sort of, all of us companies, all small business owners, have kind of seen a big dip in our revenue. I've had more than one meeting where I've sat down and looked at line-by-line item of, all right, what the heck is my outflow?
Yeah.
Let me find out what I'm spending on stamps.com or FedEx or UPS. Can I just send this regular mail? Do I have to overnight this? These little things, budgets are not improved, I found, and I believe, by whacking out $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 line items. I think they're found by saying, hey, you know what? I spend $50 a month here that I probably don't need to spend, and I spend $120 here that I don't need to spend. By the end of the day, you've saved $2,000 or $3,000 without even really taking a really hard look at it. And that's month over month. If you do $2,000 a year, that's $24,000 a year. That's another employee. How much more throughput can you have with another employee?
Yeah.
So I think that's the benefit of this downturn in the economy. I think we all got a little smarter and a little less lazy. I like how you said people get lazy. Yeah, no, I'm in that. When times are good, volume hides a lot of sins for me. I get a little lax today. Yeah, whatever. It's fine. But no, I applaud you for sticking to it for 12 years. I've certainly not taken that kind of hiatus. I go on vacation all the time, right, guys?
It really does call into question, though, the whole equity financing and early stage business financing industry. I mean, you've got a whole industry that thrives on the premise that you need seed capital, $25,000, $50,000 to start up a company. And there's a whole bunch of businesses out there that don't do anything and have no inertia only because I can't find any money to get started. I need a building. I need this. You don't need anything except somebody willing to pay you for the product or service you have.
Well, and you also, that's part of it, but you also need the kind of initiative and hard work that Abbas clearly demonstrated.
Absolutely.
When you open your business, you were working a full-time job,
Sure.
and then you started your second full-time job after you completed your first full-time job.
Your hard work is going to pay for your initial capital to open your business, but people, they think the bank has to pay for the initial capital.
Right.
No, when I got in Connecticut, I have $200 in my pocket.
Wow.
So I didn't have even enough money to go in hotel. So sometimes even I slept in a rest area in my car. So that was 12 or 13 years ago. It's not a long time ago.
Yeah.
So
You've come a long way, baby.
yes. So if you watch your money, you work hard, and you save it instead of spending it in unnecessary items, you can save money. And that money, you can open your business without having a bank involved. Because when bank involved, they make the business to run very expensively. They put you to have insurances that you don't need to insurances. They need you to take certain steps that you don't need it at the beginning. They can, one of my friends, got a loan to open a dental office. She has to pay so much money for insurance that she has to hire a consulting company to advise her on her business. Otherwise, they don't give their money for the opening the thing. So those are all the overhead that I didn't have because I didn't involve the bank at the beginning. So that was another reason that the business could go faster.
I jokingly threw out having the Home Depot comparison be part of an MBA program, but you truly should write up a case study on the building of Columbia Dental. I mean, this would be eye-opening in most MBA programs.
I agree with
I
Ken.
truly think it would, because
You break the mold.
well, didn't break it, revisited what really works, went
Well said.
backwards, and said, I don't need all of the frills, I don't need the bank, I don't need this, I just need to work hard with a quality product, focused on customers.
Exactly. Instead of focus paying the bills. This
Yeah.
is the another things. When you get bank involved, you're not going to be generous to your patients because you worry so much to satisfy the bank by
Wow.
billing.
That is such an interesting perspective.
Isn't it?
Woohoo!
Because all of a sudden you're beholden to the bank, and that's the one you're worried about because they can take it all away.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So now you're just the conduit for the bank to make money.
You become more generous. You can give and that brings the patient back.
Wow.
You don't start to petty charge the patients for a little bit you do there, little bit you do there. But when you have pressure from financial companies, then you're going to do that. You know where I learned these lessons? Because Columbia Dental was not my first office that I opened. I had an office in New York State, which I get the loan for it. And I went bankrupt after the first year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that is the lesson I learned. This
for
is the
you.
lesson. Yeah, this is the lesson. In the second business, I didn't have even choice to get the loan because
The
I was
bankruptcy.
a bankrupt.
Yeah.
I was a bankrupt. So that gave me the, they said
Necessity.
worst thing happened, but bad things happen for a good reason.
Yeah.
And I think that the best thing for me happened was to the bankruptcy that I did in New York.
Wow. Necessity being the mother of invention.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, boss. And who would have thought? But good for you for having the resiliency and the belief in yourself and the concept that you held, based on the experience with you as a young boy, to be able to carry that through.
I would love to have you back.
Oh, thank you.
I want to keep
Thank
talking.
you. Would be my pleasure.
Well,
Right.
that's great. Thanks, folks. Another great evening here at Open for Business. Want to remind you that one more time our guest this evening was Dr. Abbas Mohammadi. He is the founder of Columbia Dental. Columbia Dental has have locations in 4 different towns throughout Connecticut: Manchester, Rocky Hill, Hartford, New Haven, and we understand sometime fairly soon coming to New London. Abbas, thanks so much. We'll
Thank
be in
you
touch
so
soon.
much.
All right, we'll
Thank
see
you
you
so
again.
much. Pleasure.
Brian, great job behind the board. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian. Cheers.